welcome back to the 4 bells, and here we are doing a workout from home 109. We're feeling fine. We are going to get ourselves into a glorious lower body day today, with our big focus being on hinging patterns, either some kind of bilateral deadlift or a single leg deadlift, and then looking at balancing out the legs in some unilateral squatting patterns. To get us ready for that today, we're going to do 3 things 3 times in our warm-up. We're going to start off with some lunging patterns. From there, we're going to get into some single leg deadlifts, and from there, we're going to get into some light Jefferson curls. All of these things meant to get us ready for not only the hinging, but also the squatting we're going to do today. So, with all of these things, we've got 10 reps to do, so let's take a look at our warm-up. So with lunges today, across the 3 rounds, we're going to do 10 reps of lunges, so it's 5 per leg. I would recommend switching up the style. So in round 1, I could do some lunges forwards, of course alternating legs for 10 reps. In round number 2, maybe I'm going to do a reverse lunge, stepping back, again, alternating legs. And in round 3, we could do a curtsy lunge, stepping across and behind, going from side to side. So make sure with your lunges, we're doing 5 per leg and mix it up each round. With the single leg deadlift, we're looking for that Romanian deadlift hinging pattern, but of course, just standing on one leg. So that means I plant the foot, I'm going to push the hip back. As I lead with the chest forwards, bringing the torso parallel to the floor, we then drive the hip forwards and squeeze the glute. So we're going to do 5, ideally on our weaker side first, and then 5 on our stronger side second. If you find that just freestanding in the room is too tough, use something with the other hand. Hold on to a post, a bookshelf, anything you have, and aid yourself, but not too much, as we do 5 per side on the single leg deadlift. The Jefferson curl, what we're looking to do is that rounded back deadlift. So we're going to tuck the chin, round forwards. We're going to use that dumbbell to help pull us down. And depending on how flexible you are on any given day, you might find at first we're just getting down to the shins, or you might find you can get to the toes, or you might find that if you are super flexible, you can stand on a stair and get past the toes. So either way, we're going to do 10 of a Jefferson curl, which should be slow and sexy. With a rounded back deadlift, we never rush. For our strength piece, we have 5 sets today. Each set is 3 minutes long, split into 2 90-second windows of time. So in our first 90 seconds, we're going to be doing some kind of deadlift. So if you have it available to you and you can load up the bar, or you've got some pretty heavy dumbbells or kettlebells, we're going to be doing a bilateral 2-legged deadlift today. And if you don't have heavy weights available to us, then we're going to add a stability component into it, which in turn will make it a little bit harder. We're going to do a single leg deadlift variation instead. Woo, hard to say. If we're doing our bilateral 2-legged deadlift, we're going to do 10 reps today. If we're doing a single leg, it'll be 5 per side, so still the same amount of volume. Of course, we have a little bit of a different approach if we're on just one leg. From there, our second 90 seconds is going to be some variation on split squats. So we've got a few ways to make split squats a little bit easier or harder, depending on where you are with your ankle mobility. And we are going to be looking at 8 reps per leg. So we're ideally going to do 8 reps on our weaker side first, and then our stronger side to make sure that leg plays catch up. So we're going to do both of these things 5 times, ideally getting progressively heavier each set. Let's take a look at it. When it comes to our bilateral deadlift and we're standing on both feet, it's about setting up our position to hinge. So for 90% of people, wherever you would jump is where you want to deadlift. So for 90% of people, again, it's going to be straight down from the hips. So I'm going to set those feet up. So pretty much when I look down, I can't see the bow in my shoelaces. That should be covered by the bar. From there, we're going to set the hip up. So if anything, when it comes to getting your hands on the bar, probably not going to have the best position. So I would say, put the hands on the bar first, then worry about how your deadlift looks. So I'm going to come down, set my hands up, make sure they're nice and even on the bar. As you can see, I've got a rounded, not very sexy deadlift. We bring the hips down, push the hips back, keep the chest up, and we should be able to feel the hamstring, feel the glute, and feel a lot of engagement through the lats in the back. From there, shoulders and hips race together, a nice strong hip drive through. We then push the hip back until we get to the level with the knee, and then the hips come down again. So the way up and the way down should be mirrors of each other. We're going to do 10 deadlifts today, and if you can, get progressively heavier each set. So with the strength piece single leg deadlift, different to the warm-up, now we're going to try and add some weight to it. So of course, stability for a lot of people is going to be a big factor. So if you find that just doing it freestanding in the room is no bueno for you, hold on to a post, Again, just use a little bit of assistance, not too much. When it comes to loading up the single leg deadlift, you can do it on a barbell, but I'd say if you don't have a barbell, which probably means you're not doing bilateral deadlifts, then you can do it with a dumbbell or a kettlebell. And all I need to think is, what hand position in terms of loading makes me more stable? Is it contralaterally? Is it ipsilaterally? Basically, find out what works best for you. And we are going to do 5 single leg deadlifts on one side, and then 5 on the other. And that's it. So when it comes to split squats, how do we make them easier? How do we make them harder? How do we scale them depending on your mobility? So the big thing we're using for split squats, particularly in this squat cycle, is making sure that we are focusing on ankle dorsiflexion, my ability to get my shin as far forwards as possible and the knees over the toes. So to make it easy at first, I can put my foot on a slightly elevated surface. So it could be a plate, could be a step in your house. From there, as always, we want to step back as if I was doing a reverse lunge. The focus from here, keeping the legs on train tracks, is that shin tracking forwards. If we can, we bring the back knee to gently kiss the floor, and the front leg should be a lot of compression in the joint, trying to get that shin forwards. If that's very easy for you, we're going to do the same thing now, but on the floor. Start that split squat stance. Torso stays upright. We shift the weight forwards, back knee touches the floor. If you find on this front foot that the heel is elevated slightly, that's perfectly fine. And of course, if that is very doable for you, we can do the same thing with some dumbbells or kettlebells in that suitcase position. Either way, find the leg that is toughest for you. Do that side first. We're doing 8 per side. In today's conditioning piece, we have 4 rounds. Each round has 4 1-minute stations. So it's a 4-minute round. We're going to do that 4 times, a 16-minute workout today. Well, technically 15, but we'll get into that in a minute. Our first minute station today is going to be alternating dumbbell snatches. So going from the floor to overhead in one fluid motion with the dumbbell today. So alternating from one hand to the other. We'll go over the technique of how that should look. From there into our second minute, we're going to do a dumbbell hang squat clean. Sounds very complicated, but it uses hinging patterns into squatting patterns, which we've both been doing both today. And then from there, our third minute is going to be a 6-count burpee. We break the burpee down into 6 steps, so we're not doing sloppy, horrible, floppy burpees. We've got a nice strict push-up in there. And then the last minute, everybody knows how to do this, is resting for 1 solid, glorious minute. We are going to do these 4 things 4 times in the conditioning piece today. So let's take a look at these bad boys. For the alternating dumbbell snatch, we only need 1 dumbbell. So it can be a light one if you're new to these, or it can be a heavy one if you're more experienced. Essentially what we're going to do is try and do that explosive hip drive. We're going to try and send our weight vertically. So that means starting from the floor, I'm going to do a big hip drive up, keeping that dumbbell close to the body, and then I'm going to transition to overhead. So ideally in one fluid motion. We come up and drive overhead. That is our dumbbell snatch. If we can, alternating, depending on your comfort level, we can either switch at the floor and alternate, or we can switch on the way down. Choice is yours. With the dumbbell hang squat clean, essentially what we mean by the hang part is that we're starting from a hang position. So in Olympic weightlifting, that means top of the knees to the pockets. So we're going to start from the top of the knees and use this hip drive to get our dumbbells moving. Notice how the arms stay close to my body. I'm not out here with straight arms. Upper arm stays close to the body. So as we get to about parallel, I want to receive the dumbbells on the shoulder in a clean. What part are we now missing? We're missing the squat. So I hinge, clean, squat, stand up. Hinge, clean, squat, and stand up, and that is the dumbbell hang squat clean. 6-count burpee, all we're trying to do is avoid flopping to the floor and flopping back up. So we give ourselves 6 steps. Step 1 is a squat. Step 2 is hands down and out into a plank. Now you can do the next one either on the knees or on the toes. Number 3 is bring the chest to the floor. Number 4 is back up. 5 is jumping feet here. 6 is jumping plank. So with full game speed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-count burpee. And of course, station number 4 is resting. We all know how to rest. cigarette, call your mum, see how she's doing. Have you called in a while? Maybe you should call. That was workout from home at number 109. Hope you have a great time with today's conditioning piece. It is 4 rounds of those 1-minute stations. First station, alternating dumbbell snatch. Second station, dumbbell hang squat clean. Third station, 6-count burpee. And the nap in station number 4. Have a great workout. Let us know how you get on.